By the way, folks, you need a good fix for a high fiber intake. Just go get some Wendy's chilies. That'll really take care of you in a hurry. And we welcome you to your Week 7 preview of Wilk and Wiss. I am your co-manager, co-host, Tanner Wilkinson. He is the also co-manager, big picture stuff.
Exactly.
Cole Wissinger joining us. Excited for our guest today, Cole, one of our best friends.
Both guests, Tanner.
How rude of me. Joe and Luke Williams joining us. Joe is approximately 25 years old, and Luke is just over 25 days old. So I know
I'm
it's
26.
I know,
but
oh, you are. Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops. Why did I think you were 25? I think it's because my brother's 20. That's right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. And Luke is older than 25 days. I know that.
He is 8 weeks as of yesterday. So here, for those watching, eating his bottle and
He's
just
a
staring
baby.
into the abyss.
That's a baby, see.
It's a baby, see?
The youngest guest we've ever had on the show. Because do you remember Oliver came on one episode, Cole?
He
I don't
did.
think he was
I remember.
quite this young, but
No, he was old enough that he was kind of sitting upright enough, and I was just walking around with him while we were taping. But also, that wasn't in the video days. We
True.
never got to see that. This is a audio visual guest.
Yeah.
Little baby.
Yeah. So if you hear little baby noises, or if I have to stand up and take him out because he's crying, that's what's going on.
We're ready for it.
Absolutely. Well, Joe, we appreciate you hopping on. Biggest reason I wanted to have you on. We've talked about this in our private conversations, and I know now you're thinking, oh no, what's he going to ask me? You were a little bit of a late bloomer when it came to football fandom, which we appreciate, because this podcast, we're meant to cater to all levels of the fan, and we'd like to highlight all levels of the fan. So tell us a little bit about the time you started getting more into sports, specifically into football, and kind of just take us through that process.
Yeah, so I grew up just outside of Salt Lake. Grew up really going to Jazz games mostly. Basketball is my passion. I love the game of basketball. But I also grew up going to at least one Utah State football game every year. And loved that team, loved the Aggies, still love the Aggies, even though they haven't really given us much to love lately. But then I came down to Snow College here in Ephraim, and started at Snow TV doing broadcasting. And I really wanted to do basketball mostly, but then I got to start doing a lot of football broadcasting, doing color commentary and a little bit of play-by-play there, and I just fell in love with the game. I was also roommates with a Packers fan at that point, and this would have been 2018, fall of 2018. So that was when the Chiefs really started to be dominant, and I knew and still know their assistant coach with the Utah tie. I know we talk a lot about players with Utah ties, but coaching staff member Porter Ellett for the Chiefs grew up right by my cousins down in Wayne County, Utah. So I chose the Chiefs as my team, and I just haven't really looked back. I of course have to stream football for my job, watch football 5 days a week at least, if not more.
You know, normally you hear someone jump on the Chiefs bandwagon and it's the biggest eye roll ever. But you know a guy. That's very, very different, right?
But also, like, I am a bandwagon guy. Like,
and the fact that you admit it too. There's two pluses going for you there.
Like, fully admit, like I said, I'm a Utah Jazz fan through and through. Tanner, you can commiserate with me there. I'm a Utah State fan, and like I said, not much going there. This is my one fandom that I've actually seen some success in, and the one time in my life that I've been able to see a national championship and actually be fully invested in it.
2018 was still early enough, Mahomes, right? I mean, if it was before the season, I remember I took Patrick Mahomes in the last round of my fantasy draft that year because he'd only played 2 or 3 games the year before as a rookie. It was mostly
Exactly.
the Alex Smith show. And so I thought, hey, maybe there's something in this Mahomes guy.
I did the same. I drafted Carson Wentz early, coming off the ACL. Worked out great for me in the end because Mahomes was so brilliant that first year. Just ask Chris Collinsworth every year since. But I do think it's a cool thing when you have those personal ties, right? Like my dad's a big Eagles fan. One of his best friends that he grew up with plays for the Eagles. Even though my dad grew up played for the Eagles, not currently plays, but it's so different when you have a guy or someone who knows a guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like Porter Ellett, you guys probably know, but for the listeners who don't know, only one arm, but he was a star pitcher for the Wayne High Badgers in his time at Wayne High School with one arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really neat guy. Started out as Andy Reid's personal assistant, but is now an assistant coach on the defense.
I know they've done some cool highlights of features of him with Kansas City, and of course it's Andy Reid. The one redeeming thing that Kansas City has right now is
the Walrus from Alice in Wonderland.
That's right, Walrus who loves himself a good cheeseburger. Speaking of the Chiefs, one thing that I will say, I think Kansas City has proven that anyone can get into football over the last year, and at the end of the day, that's not a bad thing. I will say that for my criticisms of the Chiefs and the amount of eye rolls I give each week in regards to different things involving Kansas City, football really is like there should be an opportunity for everyone to enjoy football in some capacity. I will say that.
I mean, it wasn't too long ago. I remember when Rihanna was the halftime show, the big trend online was, who are all these guys hitting each other in the middle of the Rihanna concert? But there were people legitimately tuning in to the Super Bowl and tuning into the NFL just because of how connected it is to pop culture now.
Pop culture. Yeah, that's been within our lifetime, guys. The first few Super Bowls that I watched, it was pre Janet Jackson's boob, probably, that this exists. But ever since that, the Super Bowl is something that people that will only watch one football game all year will watch because it's what everyone is watching. And they do enough shots to the stands or shots to the during the halftime show, whatever, that in order to talk about what's going on, if you're interested in pop culture and you're interested in what's going on with celebrity, they're all at the Super Bowl. And some of them probably started off being there because they were also football fans, and football's the greatest sport in the world. But now everyone is just getting into it, and that's great for the game.
And see, you say that's exactly how I grew up. I wasn't allowed to watch football on Sundays except one Sunday a year. We watched the Super Bowl every single year. And I think it was more when I was younger, what are the funniest commercials and what's the best dish on the table?
Yeah.
What's the best food there? And I still kind of get into that stuff, but now I've actually gotten a deep appreciation for the game. And I feel like we've seen a lot of that in especially the last 10 years. People start watching for the pop culture, but stay because they realize just how incredible of a game football is.
We're all big blockbuster movie guys also. And it used to be probably pre-2020 whenever the movie world took a hit and couldn't figure things out. But it used to be the Super Bowl was when you debuted your best movie trailers for the entire year, because movies, just the natural movie calendar, February is where it takes kind of a dip, but February is when you start advertising your summer blockbuster movies and get that box office started for May, June, July, August. So all those big summer movies, you see the trailer for the first time in the Super Bowl.
How many Marvel movies had their first trailer at the Super Bowl?
Exactly. Yep.
Now, my favorite one ever, Endgame did not do their debut trailer, but it was like a little fifth. It was a very short one, but it's just like basically all of them saying whatever it takes, like very briefly.
Teaser, the old,
The
yeah.
old, yeah, the 15-second teaser. And at that point, we know how Marvel fans are because we are Marvel fans, or at least were. That's up for debate with a lot of households right now. We'll say I've enjoyed Agatha all along. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, the chills from that, the Jake Peralta chills, literal chills gif could have been shared that night with yeah, it's a cool thing. And it comes down to sports, right? Sports is meant to be this unifying thing, as nasty as sometimes things can get between fan bases or on the court or field, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, sports are meant to unify, and we see that greater good come all the time because of it. Literal lives changed. And hearts broken, if we're being completely honest. But
for those of us that don't root for the Chiefs.
Well, let's get to a little pick'em. Joe was smashing it early this year in our friend group pick'em. He didn't get his picks in last week, unfortunately. So my father is now in first place. He went 13-1 last week, and the only game he missed was Broncos Chargers, and he switched it at the last second. Could have had a perfect week.
Had it in his grasp.
Yeah. So let's get to it. Thursday Night Football, the Denver Broncos on the road against a very, very beat-up New Orleans Saints team. Sean Payton against his old team. Dennis Allen's one of the worst head coaches in the NFL. There's a lot of things on paper that are saying pick the Denver Broncos, and I'm not going to. I think the New Orleans Saints eke out a 13-10 type game, even with how bad that defense played a week ago. This would be a backbreaker for Denver, and I pick New Orleans in an upset.
Look, Spencer Rattler could be thrown to Marquise Colston and Mike Thomas and Joe Horn, and I'm not sure if I could pick the Spencer Rattler Saints right now. I'm going to take Denver.
I'm sticking with the Saints. I just don't have any trust in that Denver team after how they've been over the last couple of years.
Early morning football in London. The Jacksonville Jaguars stayed there the whole time, and the New England Patriots are not flying in until Thursday, which is when you would fly somewhere just domestically, I think, to get ready for a game. And I was already, I think that we are too low in general on the Jags. Too many people are picking the Patriots here, just crossing their fingers that Doug Peterson gets fired by the end of this little London trip. And I don't think it happens. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are still a good enough team, better than their record shows. And I'm taking the Jags.
Yeah, I'm going Jacksonville as well. Look, Jacksonville's been bad, but they've also played teams that are just simply better than them. And I think they are simply better than the Patriots. Not going to have to worry about jet lag, anything like that. I'd say Jacksonville covers pretty easily this week.
I'm going with you guys. And I got to point out my hat. It says Jaguars. It's not Jacksonville. It is my high school, the hat from my high school, the West Jordan Jaguars. And I also have to say, it may just because I'm rewatching The Good Place right now, and I want to yell Bortles at the top of my lungs. But I'm sticking with Jacksonville on that one too.
Let's get to your regular morning slate. Seattle is at Atlanta. This is an intriguing one. I flipped a little bit on this one. Atlanta's riding hot. Seattle is very much not riding hot. I think that flips a little bit this week. I think these are two somewhat evenly matched teams, and I just think Seattle's due a win and Atlanta's due a loss.
I've been waiting for it, and long term, I'm still in favor of Seattle, and I want to see them get it turned around, but their defense just is not playing good enough to slow down Kirk Cousins, Bijan, and Tyler Algier and the whole crew over there in Atlanta. And I'm going to take Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going with Cole. I'm sticking with Atlanta.
Tennessee and Buffalo. Buffalo coming off a big Monday night win, and Tennessee is coming off, just a bad season that they've had so far. So I'll be taking Buffalo.
This is the perfect game to break in Amari Cooper for the Bills, who they just got this week. Would win this game without him. You can ease him in. That's such a good move, in my opinion, from Buffalo. He's the guy that you want Keon Coleman to eventually become. So why not bring him in? He knows how to be a number one overall receiver. I think it's a great move for the Bills. And I think, it wouldn't matter if they got him this week, given that it's the Tennessee Titans, Buffalo big.
Yeah, I'm looking at my pick'ems here. 99% of people on the ESPN fantasy app have the Buffalo Bills picked, and I'm going with them, Buffalo all the way.
That 1%'s got to be the burners. It's like when you fill out 17 different March Madness brackets, one of them you're going to pick all 4 16 seeds just to see it happen. Those are the people taking
Yeah.
Tennessee in this one.
Maybe a few hopeful Titan fans out there.
No, hopeless is the right word. I'm friends with a few of them.
All right, NFC North or AFC North clash, excuse me. Cincinnati, a 5.5-point favorite at Cleveland. That is how bad things are. We're having a Browns fan on a week from today, so it will be interesting to see what his thoughts are after Cincinnati beats them, because I'm taking the Bengals.
I think it's possible. I still don't think Cleveland is entering this worst Cleveland team in their sports city history. But this is Cincinnati, and they're starting to click now, and their record is still worse, and they still need every single win they can get. And so a misstep here against the Browns, even though I'm waiting for a Browns win to turn things around a little bit, I can't get it in me to pick it here, and I'm going to take Cincinnati. But I'm going to regret it if Cleveland wins this game. This is the one on the whole slate that I'd like my mulligan on.
Again, I'm very tempted to go with Cleveland here. And I think that's more a distrust in Joe Burrow's offense than it is a trust in Cleveland's ability to win. I'm just not sure that Cincinnati offense has clicked all the way, but I am going with the Bengals to win that one.
The Green Bay Packers are in 4th place in the NFC North. They are 4-2, and they have to go up against the Houston Texans. Even with a loss here, they have a winning record through almost the halfway point of the season and still might be last in the division. And I'm unfortunately going to take Houston. This is going to be a grind to figure out who comes out on top of the NFC North.
I think this low-key might be your best matchup of the week. I get there's a sexier matchup down the line with the Super Bowl rematch that we'll talk about, but my colon is still really mad at what Jordan Love did to me last week, having to eat all those quesadillas on Monday. By the way, folks, you need a good fix for a high fiber intake. Just go get some Wendy's chilies. That'll really take care of you in a hurry. So yeah, I did complete the bet with my brother, and because of that, I'm picking the Texans. That alone, this is a pure spite pick, even though I think it is a 50-50 call who wins this game.
I'm going with you. I agree that it's a 50-50 call, but I'm taking the flip side of the coin. I'm going Green Bay. I love what Jordan Love has been doing up there for the last couple of years. He's one of my Aggies, and I love that team, and I think it's going to be a close one. And this is probably my one that I'm the least sure of, but I'm going Green Bay.
Miami is at Indianapolis. Colts a 3-point favorite. Still a lot of injuries bugging both these teams. You know what, man? I'm just going to take Miami. Mike McDaniel coming off a bye. Let's see what he's been able to work on with Tyler Huntley over the next 2 weeks. And the Colts just have. I don't want to beat a dead horse in saying they don't have the horses right now. Double, thank you.
Triple.
I'm just
Colts are horses. Also,
no, I know. So what was the third one?
And beat a dead horse.
I said beat a dead horse, and then they don't have the horses.
So
that's 2 in
and
regards
Colts.
To the Colts. Yeah, okay, I see. We're on the same page. I just wasn't counting Colt. Okay.
We're also on the same page in this game, man. You took my notes. Mike McDonald coming off a bye. McDaniel, holy mackerel. This freaking we got one of them's got to get fired, and I love them both, and I don't want it, but okay, Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, whom we love. Coming off a bye and against an Indianapolis team, look, Anthony Richardson might be coming back, and that might not be a good thing for the Colts. And heck, even if Joe Flacco is playing, he lost that initial, the backup came in and he started playing a little bit better. Doesn't matter here, and I'm taking Miami in what should be a bigger upset than either of us just made it out to be because we're picking the underdog.
See, I'm going Indianapolis.
You should.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a gut pick. I believe in Mike McDaniels as a coach. I think he's proven himself time and time again, especially after a bye week. But I'm not convinced, so I'm going Indy.
This is your game of the week. Back to that NFC North. Detroit and Minnesota. And it's not even the one that there are. How many game of the weeks we talked about
We
here?
got like
But
3 or 4 matchups here this week that are going to be massive down the road.
and it's a 1-loss team versus a 0 versus an undefeated team. Detroit and Minnesota for the top in the most competitive division in all of football. I'm going to take Detroit, and my 2 preseason Super Bowl picks, only 1 loss each of them through this many games, and I'm picking them both here as the schedule starts to turn into that back half. Things get real, and so I'm taking Houston earlier. I'm taking Detroit here.
Yeah, Minnesota coming off a bye, which makes things interesting with Kevin O'Connell. I think Detroit's got some emotional things to play for. After we talked about the Aiden Hutchinson injury on Monday, it's by far the biggest injury we've had this season in the NFL. I think Detroit rallies a little bit from that. And on top of that, Detroit's offense is just humming. We'll see how Brian Flores does. This is going to be a chess match. But at the end of the day, I'm also taking the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going the Lions too after their monster win over Dallas last week. They got to be feeling good, have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder after that Hutchinson injury. I'm going Lions.
Well, let's talk about Philly being at the New York Giants in the Meadowlands. This is my upset of the week. I'm taking the Giants. Philadelphia just doesn't look right. I think they're susceptible to losses like this. Now, look, it won't surprise me if Philly goes on and wins this game. This is just an upset I think could be waiting to happen. I'm going to take the Giants.
Yeah, I can see it, but the Giants, something's wrong in Cincinnati for that game to have been as close. I don't think the Giants were actually showing us anything. Daniel Jones in a contract year, who knows? He might be playing himself into screwing some other team thinking that he's a good quarterback, but I take Philadelphia in this game.
I'm going with Cole. I'm going Philly.
Raiders and Rams, a couple teams where the reality of this season has not met the expectations that fan bases had coming into it. This is a toss-up for all the wrong reasons for each of these two teams, and I'm taking even a banged-up Rams team. I'll rely on who is there over what the Raiders have.
Yeah, I'm thinking the exact same thing. This is the one game you probably don't want to watch this week if there's a do not watch game. But yeah, the Rams, and just better coaching at this point, right? Sean McVay is also coming off a bye. Taking the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going the Rams too, but I think the Raiders have a bright future now. Tom Brady buying a minority stake in them.
Also, a game you don't want to watch this week. Carolina at Washington. Now, this is interesting because Washington at one point was in Carolina's shoes. So hopefully David Tenner's taken some notes. Is that his name? Tepper. David Tenner's a dude who was on Harry Potter, if I remember right. Maybe not. I don't know.
Tepper. I thought I knew my Harry Potter, but you're pulling out lore I'm not familiar with.
Well, then I'm probably wrong if you know Harry Potter. Well, I was not.
You're thinking David Tennant.
Yeah, that's Doctor Who. That's the old.
That's who I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, he was in Harry Potter 4.
Yeah. Sorry, we're kind on this podcast. We could have glossed over it, like we glossed over Joe actually combining Mike McDaniel and McDonald's names earlier when he came out with like McDonald's or.
Hey, that wasn't me. That was Tanner.
I thought it was Cole who combined.
Oh, I mean, I firmly messed it all up. See, this is the kind of stuff that normally I would take out in editing, but because we're just hanging.
This is dudes hanging. Yeah, this is your dudes group chat with random receivers from 2011 type of chat. Washington wins this one big. David Tepper needs to take some notes on how to run a franchise because it's not being done well in Carolina, and it's being done pretty darn well so far with this new regime in Washington.
I still don't know if I totally believe in Washington doing it this year. Jaden Daniels keeps proving the haters wrong, and he's doing everything you would expect him to do for a rookie. But some of it's got to come back down to earth. Carolina's not the one to bring it out.
It's not going to be this week. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's going to be Washington by no small margin.
Stop me if you've heard this one. It's the game of the week, and it's the Super Bowl rematch. Kansas City and San Francisco. Two paths diversion in a yellow wood here because the 49ers, since that loss and since falling apart, haven't totally put it all together so far, and Kansas City's still undefeated. I'm going to take Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas City too. I think this is a different story if Christian McCaffrey's healthy. Just he's so dynamic, and San Francisco's just missed that all year. Not sure with Mason at that running back spot with his shoulder injury. Not sure how that's going to go down. Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, I'm going with my Chiefs on that one too. They finally have their receiver woes figured out from last year, and going up against like you've been saying, kind of a broken down San Francisco team. I'm going my Chiefs all the way.
And for the record, I already picked against Seattle earlier, and not to spoil anything for Monday night, but I'm not going to be picking Tanner's Cardinals either. San Francisco would still be top in the division at a losing record with a win here in this.
Yeah.
Someone in the NFC North is going to get screwed.
Big time. Sunday Night Football. Two teams that have very much been in the news this week. The Jets acquired Davante Adams after crapping the bed on Monday night against the Bills with bad kicking and bad route running and bad finger pointing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the Steelers are likely, it's kind of trending that they're going to start Russell Wilson, that he's 100% healthy. Despite having a 4-2 record, they're going to potentially not necessarily move on from Justin Fields, but move on from Justin Fields. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I just think the Pittsburgh defense is still good enough. This is the type of game that they're going to win. Man, the vibes in New York, firing Robert Saleh was not the answer. Was it a solution? To some things, maybe, but it also was not your answer to why you have the issues that you have. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
I think that both of these teams finish the season at 9-8, and it will get the opposite reactions from the fan base and especially jobs from the coaching staff, considering what's actually out there on the field for them to work with. The Jets are going to turn it around at some point, and I think they can ride the good vibes train of Davante Adams to a win right now. And especially if the Steelers right now, they're giving the first team reps to Russell Wilson. I'm not convinced that means he's starting. I think it is still Justin Fields. And I've talked about the soft Steelers schedule to start the season, giving them a little of an inflated sense of themselves when those 6 division games are coming for you and looming over in the back half of the season. You got to build yourself a lead, and I don't think they can do it here. I'm taking the Jets.
I'm going Pittsburgh here. Excited. I hope to see Russell Wilson. I don't know if he is going to be starting or not. But I want to see him put the Denver days behind him and maybe get back closer to what he was in Seattle. I'm not sure that he ever will get back to that spot, but yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh in this one.
Double Monday night football is back. Baltimore and Tampa Bay, and this is a candidate for game of the week, the way that Tampa Bay has been playing, and the other teams in the NFC North not getting totally up to their potential. Atlanta's had a slow start, and now the Spencer Rattler Saints. Tampa is starting to just assert their dominance in this division, but Baltimore's one of the best teams in all of football, and it's the matchup to watch across, I think, the entire NFL is going to be Baltimore's run game versus Vita Vea in the middle and the Tampa Bay run D. But I am going to take Baltimore and Lamar Jackson being able to pivot in a way that he can, playing just another MVP level season.
Derrick Henry running into Vita Vea. It's a lot of meat colliding right there at the line of scrimmage. I'm going to take Baltimore again, very much riding off of what you said, Cole. They're arguably the best team in football, top to bottom. So going to go with the Ravens.
I just asked Luke what he thinks, and Luke says Tampa Bay. He's picking the upset here with how well they've been playing. Baker Mayfield doing pretty well, honestly, in that position down there. I'm Buccaneers.
It's a Pirate's life for Luke.
Exactly.
Savvy. Chargers in Arizona taking on the Cardinals. LA's a 1.5-point favorite. One of my good buddies, who will be our guest next Thursday, is actually going to be at this game because he lives in Arizona. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I think the Chargers present a little bit better of an opportunity than what Arizona's had the last 2 weeks. Big question, though, where I risk making this pick so far out where it is a Monday night game There's still a lot to be determined on who's going to play for Arizona. Might change my vibes heading into Monday night, but I'm going to take a Cardinals win. Why not?
Feel free to text the group chat if you're going to change. We'll honor it.
Okay.
We won't hold you to it on the podcast, considering it is Monday. And if your buddy's going to be at the game, that means he's going to be one of the few people being able to watch this game, because this is, although it's Monday night, it's going to be an ESPN Plus exclusive Monday night, not the old fashioned, one's on ESPN, the other's ESPN2. So I gotta dust off, see if the in-laws have an ESPN Plus subscription or not, to see if I can even see this. And either way, I'm going to take the Chargers.
I'm going with Arizona on this one. I think this, exactly what Tanner said, this is one of the best opportunities they'll have for a win this year. And yeah, I'm going with them.
Historically, the last time we played Justin Herbert, he did carve us up. So I do have that on my nerves as well in terms of doubting some things. But anyway, Joseph, it's been an honor, sir. Appreciate you coming on, sharing your experience in the world of football, and just really, really appreciate your friendship, man. The three of us always have a good time when we get together. It was about time this happened on the show. And enjoy your wife's fall break, because
thank you.
We're going to do the same with it being fall
Tanner,
break down here.
Before we close down, I've got a proposition for you.
If this involves fiber tortillas, I'm hitting stop record.
It involves food. And I know you guys talked about, all three of us are getting to that age where we'd rather just bet money. But hey, over under, BYU has Oklahoma State this weekend. BYU 7-point win, over or under.
I'd take an over on that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put, if they are under that, or if BYU loses, I have to smoke a pork butt for you. If you are correct, we're headed up to Bam Bam's barbecue.
Oh, that's a win-win.
That is the most win-win proposition I've ever heard on this podcast.
Someone's been reading the Dunder Mifflin conflict resolution binder.
Hey, well, it's a win-win-win.
Can we make it a win-win-win where I just come down and join whatever happens?
Cole moderated conflict resolution here.
Oh man, yeah, that's a lot better than 8 high fiber tortillas. Jordan Love.
Hey, I didn't say what I may or may not be sneaking into that pork butt, but
well, here's the other thing, real quick. This is just a little inside tidbit. So Joe blessed Luke on Sunday and was nice enough to invite me into the circle. I could not stay for the luncheon after. And guess who smelled like the pork butt that he had been smoking for the last couple of days in the circle?
Oh.
And then I didn't get to have any of it. So anyway,
it was delicious.
Joe knows what he's doing with his smoker. Could have had a whole segment on that for a while.
That's a sign you've reached that age too. When a man reaches, graduates from college and decides if he's going to be a smoker guy, a golf guy, whatever it is.
Here's the problem though. I also have a membership at the golf club down here, and I have gotten really into World War II history. I'm in trouble, you guys.
He's in his dad era.
I'm not going to like you in 10 years, Joe, given my history with certain things. We'll leave it at that. Appreciate you as always, brother. Cole, always a pleasure. Yeah. Hope we can all enjoy a fun weekend of football that kind of already got started for us. We were all doing a high school game last night somewhere, and I'm going back out to do high school today, and then we got college Friday and Saturday, NFL tonight, and on Sunday and Monday.
And this was the high school regular season finale. We're going to find out what the tournament looks like this weekend in Utah High School.
Saturday morning, I believe.
Yep, Saturday morning.
All those brackets get released, so that's a big deal. That's a very, very big deal out this way. So, well, in the words of Buster Bluth, bye, brother.
Bye.
Bye.